Now, the much-anticipated ANC North West Conference has finally started. A last-minute court interdict last night prohibits 20 members of the Interim Provincial Committee from voting. For more on this, I'm joined now by Senior Lecturer at Wits School of Governance, Pooe. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. As you and I speak, we speak right after the opening remarks by ANC Deputy President David Mabuza, who has spoken quite extensively about the timing of the conference, saying that it takes place at a time where the ANC is facing numerous challenges, of course, speaking to the challenges of unity, ideological coherence, and, of course, the work that needs to be done. What do you make of the tone and the timing as this conference gets underway?
No, thanks, Pooe. I'll probably take a different tact because this is quite unique to the Northwest Province. That I think it again misses the point. I believe is saying, namely, look, you have to look at where the Northwest Province has been, and this has been a continued problem. So I think he's not identifying the correct issues which are plaguing this province. So I think a better for him would have taken was to actually address, the main reason why the ANC in the Northwest Province has been failing to really get quorums, to really get this conference going. So again, I just believe he's kind of missed the point, and it's generally how the ANC has treated the Northwest Province.
And of course, that speaks to numerous challenges there. The ANC, of course, conference finally getting underway after several postponements due to tensions between branches, which is something, of course, that he didn't address directly. What do you believe to be at stake as these delegates go into conference?
Well, look, I think most people, would look to the issue of the December conference, but I think that's a by the way. I think a better way to really look at it is to kind of see where the ANC will be heading in the future. If you really look at where the election, the roles are going for Northwest Province, if you look at how the ANC kind of behaves in the Northwest Province, I can actually make an argument that this kind of shows you what the future of the ANC is going to be like. I always make the point when speaking about the Northwest is they've only had one premier serve out his full term. I think it was Mr. Pooe. The rest have been abrupt stoppages, and I think this is the way of the ANC is going. So what this basically tells me is if you want to understand where the ANC's future is going, look at the Northwest Province, and it's not really a healthy environment for the ANC to be in.
And the court bid to interdict the conference failed. What does this essentially mean for the party's Interim Provincial Committee's voting powers? And, of course, the president, deputy president, a short while ago spoke about the mood. He said that the mood is one that is inspirational. It's a good, vibey atmosphere, which essentially means that the conference gets underway with the right kind of attitude, and that he's confident that there will be a good outcome. Also warning against squabbles within the organization and the Northwest region specifically.
I think the court case is quite problematic because it's something which the national executive of the ANC should have picked up. That when you put people there as an interim structure, there's such a thing as, good faith, which is to say, kind of put people there who are retired, who really don't have any skin in the game. And I think that really created its own issue. So for me, it really speaks to the lack of leadership, which is actually coming from the NEC. So everything that the deputy president says, it's almost like putting it's putting, I think what's it saying, it's putting lipstick on a pig. It doesn't really address the key issues. And this is the point that the NEC should have picked up that this was going to be a problem going forward. But again, it goes back to, if you look at the state of the Northwest Province, the ANC since 1994 has really, I think, messed up when it comes to the Northwest Province. And we should have actually expected that something like this was going to happen.
You make mention of leadership, TK, and this conference goes ahead with, of course, a number of stumbling blocks, as several leaders have put their hands up to lead, including former MEC Nono Maloyi, who faces a charge of culpable homicide. He's also put his name in the hat to lead the province. What sort of tone do you think that sets, especially as we know that there also have been others who accused of serious crimes and still going ahead without any sort of caution?
Well, I think, look, it brings us to sharp focus what I've always said. I hardly call people who are serving in the ANC leaders. I think that we always make the mistake of assuming a lot of these people are leaders, and then I think we give them the false dawn, so to speak, that to believe that they are that. What you basically are seeing, and I like the way that you really raised the question, is these are people who have been very opportunistic in what they're taking. And because there's no set standard in the ANC for what a leader is, because if truly there were leaders in the ANC and there was an actual set moral standard, there's no way such many of these people would be standing. So this really just shows you the way of the ANC, that, look, it doesn't really matter what you're, look, and I always want to say this is not really a legal issue, because I know that steps into the role of the step aside. But this really speaks to the morality of the political party, which is to say, if you have these charges pending against you, surely the right thing to do, whether you are legally charged or not, is for you to say, listen, I don't think I'm the right person to step forward and really lead the organization. And I think the ANC really does miss that point, which is to say they are really losing track of what's happening with the rest of society, especially in the Northwest Province.
So what do you make of the sort of tone that has been set in efforts to set the moral standard? We've heard a lot out of the various conferences when the President also stood at the podium, as well as Deputy President this evening, saying that there are those who look to gain power for selfish reasons, for corruption. That in itself speaking to a party that realizes that there are serious challenges which are, of course, resulting in the country going on a downward spiral. What does that essentially speak to, and perhaps the energy and efforts in speaking to renewal and unity? How do you see it playing out? What will it take for the party to really correct its wrongs?
I think we should start doing something which I think is most practical when it comes to speaking about the ANC. The onus is not on us to have to give the ANC, a recourse as to what they need to do. It's quite obvious. I think the ANC really just needs to almost cull people who are at the top and start afresh. This idea that the ANC currently has the ability to do something different, I think it's folly on our part. And I think we somehow seem to get into this spiral where we believe that we can give the ANC solutions. It's quite obvious. If any organization, especially a healthy organization, goes through the same thing, what you do is you say, look, you look at the top. You say the top is not performing, the top is not up to standard. Let us really just cull from the top and start afresh. And I think until the ANC does that, we should not really be telling the ANC what to do. They know what to do. It's actually a waste of our time for us to keep saying the ANC must do this. They know what to do. They're just failing to do it. And I think we should just start treating them in that way, which is, this is a party failing to do what everybody knows that they should do, which is cull from the top and start from the bottom.
Very well. Thank you so much for weighing in there. Summary action from Wits School of Governance Senior Lecturer TK Pooe, speaking there as the ANC North West Elective Conference is underway. We do continue